good morning. It's the 25th of April and I'm all by myself, as you can see. I'm driving to a favorite spot and I'm going to meet a friend. We're going to do some social distancing kayak style. But me and Bruce, we're going to get together and photograph some great blue herons on their nests at the Rookery.
Photography expedition begins, social distancing. Hi, this is Bruce Leventhal, and I'm out here with my good buddy Brian Collins, and we're heading out to one of our favorite April locations to do some photography of nesting birds. In particular, we're looking for egrets, and we're looking for great blue herons, and we're looking for cormorants, and we're looking for anything that's going to give us the opportunity to produce something unique. It's a fun time in this location. You can hear the motorboat. We're not alone. People go fishing here, but we're out here just to make some beautiful photos. Take a look at this morning light. It's 6:10. I guess it's time to go.
Oh, this is looking spectacular. So I've got my camera mounted on the bow of my kayak and I've got the tripod sort of straddled and it's really stable. So I'm giving it a few tests right now. I got somebody's boat wake. So we'll get our first look here.
So we picked this location for three reasons. One, I'm protected by a giant root snag, which means that I'm not being impacted as much by wave action, and so I can really benefit for some stability. Number two, the sun's to our back, which is causing the birds that we're photographing to glow, so we're picking up sunrise light and we're filling in the shadows and we can pull out some detail. And three, we have this perfect nest at the pinnacle of the island, and there are actually two nests, and the end result is when the mates come in with their stick offerings, we've got a nice clean angle to catch the herons flying into the nest and then passing their sticks to their mates without getting an obstructed view. This could not be a better location to photograph nesting herons.
So one thing that makes this rookery so great is that the birds have been acclimated to human presence by bass fishermen over a period of many years. So kind of like the busy rookeries of Florida, I'm able to visit this one without any fear of disturbing the nest with my kayak. So Bruce and I have been photographing here since I think about 2008. So we're going on about 12 years of annual visits. I like to call this place my proof of life photography shoot. So one of the most iconic birds here is the great egret. And the great egret is actually one of the front runners of the conservation movement. Great egrets were plume hunted nearly to extinction, And a group of activists got busy over on the East Coast, a group of women who were concerned about things socially and environmentally. They got together and began lobbying for the protection of these birds. And it actually was really important in the foundation of the International Migratory Bird Treaty Act, which came about in 1917 and has resulted in the conservation of all species of migratory birds through a treaty that is agreed upon by Canada, the United States, and Mexico. This strategy that the birds are using, nesting in this rookery, has a tendency to do what's called predator overwhelming. And so by taking all these birds and concentrating in one place, it becomes a numbers game. There's only so many predators that will occupy this area. So by these birds nesting colonially, what we end up with is a system where a predator can do damage, but they can never damage at all. Predator overwhelming by sheer numbers.
The sun's getting hot here, and shadows are gonna start to interfere with our capacity to get detail. So it's time to get creative. We're gonna flip around to the backside of the island, maybe do some silhouettes, see if we can get some isolation, and if not, well, we've had a great day on the water.
So when we're here photographing the rookeries, you might think it's easy to make the images, but the light changes very quickly and can be very harsh. And the trees are really messy. It's hard to get a clean exposure. And so we're choosing perches that have a lot of character and offer some birds that are not completely obstructed by sticks. And then for flight shooting, we're choosing a very clear, unobstructed lane that has really nice light. And believe it or not, it's taken a lot of trial and error and a lot of throwing away of pictures to find that right place. We're looking for light, we're looking for action, we're looking for the right places to make the right images. And it's really challenging inside the mind and inside the camera to make images, even though the birds are everywhere. As always, I'm choosing to shoot from a kayak with the Canon 400 f5.6 low dispersion glass. Arthur Morris once called it the toy lens, and it handles really well, but it is superbly sharp. When you start worrying about getting sunburned, you know the light's bad. It's time to move on out. So skies are too blue, birds are too blasted with too much shadow. The exposures are no longer going to be any good. Any photography from here is just, as Bruce says, entertainment of a cat sitting by the side of a fishbowl. Bat, bat, bat.
You know, I think Brian and I have been shooting this rookery for about a decade now, and over the years I've used a variety of equipment, everything from a 300 f4 to a 300 f2.8, and even a 200 to 400 Nikon VR lens. Well, today I was out shooting with my Nikon 500 f5.6 PF lens. That lens is really small. It's about 2/3 the size of a regular 500 f4. As a result, I was able to leave my tripod down, so I didn't use my tripod at all, which is pretty unusual for me, and I did the entire shooting handheld. The lens was attached to a Nikon D500, so I was effectively shooting at 750 millimeters at f5.6, and it just seemed to be the perfect lens for the day.
We gave each one of these herons $5 to do exactly what we want them to do. And they responded really well to that.